If you struggle, whether it's a over-the-top pull hook or more commonly over-the-top big-time slice, losing a ton of yards, these simple drills will help you establish a better foundation to be able to have more control not only off the tee, but the rest of the course. So the goal in these drills is to help make your swing feel a little bit more effortless and more purposeful. So let's talk about what over the top is. Over the top, if we were to set up position looking down the target line and I got to the top of my swing, over the top simply means the positioning of the golf club shaft and its relationship to the path that I'm swinging on. So if you notice, I get to the top of the backswing, let's take a look at the angle of the golf club. So from the heel of the club down the shaft, the angle of that golf club is really going to dictate my path, okay? So imagine that this line were to extend all the way till it touched the ground. If I got to the top of my backswing and I swung over top of that position, so now the club's coming in a very steep position, that's considered over the top. Over the top is steep. Over the top lacks body rotation, therefore you're not going to have this nice weight shift and dynamic release of the club. It's going to be more of an upper body driven type of swing when you're swinging over the top. So it might feel muscular, it might feel strong, and I think that's where a lot of golfers go wrong, is it feels forceful. It feels like it's going to put all this potential power and impact, and then they make contact with the ball. It might feel good, but the end result is this just weak shot. If you've got the club face shut, then you've just hit this nasty low duck hook. And if you've got the face relatively square to open, you've got this monster slice that's just peeling out of bounds. It's finding every piece of water on the golf course or woods. So now that we kind of understand the concept of what over the top means, let's learn some drills to help establish better foundations from the top of our backswing. One of my favorite drills to help people understand what we're doing at the top of our swing, you don't need a golf club. All you need is yourself and maybe a mirror to help guide yourself visually on what's happening. So if I set up here and I've got my arms out, I get to the top of my backswing, I'm looking at my trail arm. If we're looking at it, I'm looking at the position from my shoulder to my elbow. It's relatively level to the ground. If you find yourself in a position where that elbow is now higher than my shoulder, there's a really good chance that you're going to swing over the top unless you make this rescuing move to come down. There are some golfers out there that can do that, but I wouldn't say that golfers maybe with shoulder issues are in that crowd. So what we'll do is we'll go to the top of our backswing. I want you to ensure that your shoulder is slightly higher, your right shoulder is slightly higher than your right elbow, and we need to maintain that. At no point do I want my elbow to become higher than my shoulder. So I'm going to go to the top, and as I come down, you'll see almost instantly my right elbow gets very low beneath my right shoulder. And in doing so, that is shallowing out my angle of attack. And that's allowing me to swing more inside to out, more of a neutral path to impact. So let's put a golf club in our hands now, and let's use that technique. So I get to the top of my backswing, I can see that my right shoulder is higher than my right elbow, and the objective is to maintain that, to not lose that positioning, because that's how I get myself into a vertical shaft position that's swinging over the top. I really feel like just acknowledging that, understanding that concept alone will help you be more conscious of how you practice. Next drill is one of my all-time favorite drills. It's a mid-shaft drill. So I'm going to take preferably like a 7-iron. I'm going to put my hands midpoint on the shaft, and I'm going to set up in a position to where the grip end of the club is outside the left edge of my body. I'll go to the top of my backswing, and if I were to swing over the top, again, that problem with the elbow, if it gets further away from my right side and gets higher than my right shoulder, I'm going to tap my belly or chest with the grip end of the club. And if that happens before I get to impact, there's a lot of red flags going off in my head right now. If that happens, that means that my swing is dominantly arm and shoulder driven, and it lacks the foundations of good rotation. So with this drill, taking it middle of the shaft, your normal grip, obviously the club's not touching the ground here. I don't want you to have to manipulate your setup to get down in position. It's standard routine positioning of the spine and body. We'll go to the top of the backswing, and as we come down, if I do things properly, that trail elbow stays connected to my trail side, and if I come into impact, that grip is nowhere near my left side. That doesn't happen until I've struck the ball. Even at impact, coming in a little bit closer, even at impact, it's still not touching me. After impact is when that happens. So that's a really good way to understand the sequence and the release of what happens pre and post impact. So that's a really, really good drill. It's something that I encourage a lot of my golfers to do. It's something I do. So let's go ahead and give you one more drill for over the top. And what you're going to do here is actually, we'll use one club. Again, I've got the 7-iron here. What I'm going to do is set up with my lead arm extended completely out. I've got the golf club shaft perfectly perpendicular to the horizon. I'll take my setup position, and what I want to do, and you can do this even with a golf ball in your hand, put a golf ball in your trail hand, and what we're going to do is throw that ball underneath of that lead arm. Now, your accuracy will play a great role in your path. So pick out a target if you're out in the grass. Maybe throw a towel down that you want to throw to. It doesn't have to be any more than maybe like 15 feet away. We just need to have that short intermediate target to throw to. You get a ball in your hand, and what we're going to do is throw that ball at our target. And what you might notice at first is that you're throwing hard left. Well, essentially throwing hard left is doing what? It's getting, again, right back to that key point. If that trail elbow gets higher than my trail shoulder, forget about it. You're swinging over the top. There's really not much you can do to save that. If you really struggle with that, you might want to focus on practicing just the polar opposite. You might want to help work shallow things out just to establish a feel. Now, there's a good chance you might go through a short period where you hit some excessive draws, but it might be fun for you because you've never been able to do it before. So practicing, you could throw that ball right of target. But objectively, I want to throw directly at target. I want to release that ball out of that trail hand so it lands on that intermediate target that I have set up about 15 feet away. So I hope you found this informative, and I'd love to know if you guys have drills out there that have worked for you. Share it with the community so we can help continue to grow this channel and help you become better golfers out there. So thanks again for all you do. We really appreciate your support.